welcome back to another video on this channel. I know it's been a minute since I've uploaded. I'm actually a few days late on my normal upload schedule, but I've been kind of preoccupied with a bunch of midterms, and you can totally see that I've been stressed out by all my breakouts I'm having on my face right now, but that's okay. I'm also trying out this new skincare routine, and it worked really well, but I ran out of my products, so I have to go like the sample size products. And so I have to go to Sephora and get some more. So like my whole life's just one giant escapade right now. But it's spring break, so hopefully I'll be recording a lot more videos for you guys and having more content uploaded a little bit more regularly. But today I thought I would give a little more like sit down and get to know me type of video. I had an idea to make this, but then I don't know, for a while I've been putting it off, or like I just didn't want to do it just because, I mean, I've done a bunch of personal videos for other people and like basically telling them how much I love them, but I haven't done a lot of personal videos for myself. So this video is going to be talking all about my first tattoo, which is actually a Pokemon tattoo, and what it is, what was the inspiration behind it, or I got it done, and just that whole journey. And so I'll be putting up a picture of my tattoo here. So I got this squirrel tattoo when I was 19 years old. And yeah, I mean, as soon as I thought I had some sort of adult authority, adult sense of responsibility, or like when I was able to take care of myself, the first thing I do is went out and got a Pokemon tattoo. I also had a 25-year-old boyfriend at 19 too. But both of those things ended up working out because I'm married to that hot older boyfriend, and I saw my Pokemon tattoo and I really like it. So if you are 19 and young and wanting to take some risks, you know what, just do it because you don't know. But anyway, so this was my first tattoo. I actually have it above my ankle on my right leg, and it is an image, and you guys have probably seen this image before. There's this artist called, and their Instagram name is at It's Birdie. And this person also has another Instagram page where they do car modifications and things like that, or like produce anime related merch. I've been following them for a while, and now they're like all over the internet, right? These images of like Pokemon starters or Pokemon in general wearing clothes of their evolution. Or, you know, I know the Ghastly one has like a robotic suit or whatever, but it's the same idea as like cutish star Pokemon wearing a full suit of their future evolution, right? And I know they're really popular now. Like I've seen them on those sketchy merch sites from like places in like China that just like throw together the same weird material and stuff. A lot of copyrighted shit. But when I was young and when I was 19, these images weren't as popular. They were on little bits of like Instagram and the internet, but they didn't blow up the same way they did now. And so I just wanted, like, that's my defense of like being a basic bitch. Like, I'm not a basic bitch, I promise. This was like alternative when I was young. So anyway, yeah, so this is the image, and I actually got it done at a place called Stillhouse Tattoos, back in my hometown in South Bend, Indiana, although I think that shop's technically located in Mishawaka. I got it done by a woman named Amber Olson, and she is a phenomenal tattoo artist. You know, she was working there, or this was, God, how long? 5 years ago. So she was working there. She's pretty young, and she had like a wonderful bedside manner. It was like my first tattoo, and she was really chill about it. It took a long time. There was a lot of shading. And I'm someone with like a pretty low pain tolerance, but she was super attentive. And actually now she has her own tattoo studio and like art-ish sort of enterprise called Enamored Arts. And I think it's still in the same area. I'm not really sure where the location is, but she's done lots of tattoo competitions, and she's like a kind of like a local celebrity in this sort of industry. And so her new shop, Enamored Arts, it's very like not, it's got like little bits of, it's a lot more feminine than the old tattoo shop. And I think almost all of her employees are all women too. But it's very like colorful, but still kind of goth, Victorian stuff, but e-girl stuff. And she does a lot of anime tattoos and watercolor, like things with color, which again, if you can't tell by like my hair and my face and my clothes and everything else, I'm a woman who likes color too. So I'll throw her Instagram up here, or her company's page up here too, and I'll put links in the description below in case you want to check them out. But she did my tattoo, and it was absolutely great. and I went there that day with my boyfriend at the time, who, again, I don't think he has, I mean, we don't speak anymore, obviously, after the breakup, but I don't think he ever got a tattoo, and he was pretty like a straight-laced country boy. So when I told him that my parents were going through a divorce and I really wanted to get this tattoo, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, I was the bad girl in the relationship, right? The bad girl that your parents warn you about or whatever. When I'm like, I was a straight A student. Well, not straight A's, but I was like an honor student in high school, and I did sports and stuff. But because my parents came from a divorce and because I was poor, that made me a bad girl. So you know what? Just why not embrace them stereotypes and get tattoos? I don't know what to tell you. Um, but yeah, originally, so I mentioned the divorce. Well, my mom never wanted me to get a tattoo, and she still doesn't like my tattoos. She still doesn't like the fact that my sister's covered in tattoos. Um, but my dad told me he would get me a tattoo, as like a present or something. Like he's got a bunch of comic book characters on him. So I was really excited about this, and I think it's just for context, my dad and I have a really on again, off again relationship. I really don't know. Like sometimes it'll be going okay and everything will be good, but then something happens and it'll go like completely south. We're kind of like a seesaw kind of relationship, unfortunately. But so during the divorce, or like after in a short time afterwards, he really tried to reinvest himself in my life, and he was, like I said, he was always touch and go. Like there's been periods of times where we just haven't spoke to each other, period, even when we were living under the same roof. And that does a lot on a kid, you know. So like I tend to have trust issues with him, but like also just like men in general, unfortunately. That's like, and that's something I'm growing out of, definitely. And like becoming an adult, I think I've gained this sense of empathy for people, and like this idea that, and it's really important, especially if you're in a situation like the one I was in, is that you can't always blame yourself, right? I mean, it's important to own up to your mistakes, but when you're that little, that's like a big part of another problem going on that probably doesn't have a whole lot to relate to you, or if it does, and you know, it's outside of your own realm. You can't control what people do to you or what happens in general, but you can control how you react to it. So that's something that I've grown up and I've really, really taught myself, is that um, I'm not, my self worth or my identity doesn't revolve around the decisions of someone else or how they treat me, right? It's important though that if you are in a bad situation, that you go seek out help. You know, no one should suffer through things that they're really uncomfortable with, but I think it's important to talk about like where your head could be at and like how you can best protect yourself, not only physically but emotionally as well. So anyway, getting through all that garbage. So my dad and I, at this point in time, we were rekindling in our relationship, or he was trying to invest again, because he, I guess, you know, even when my mom and him were fighting, she brought up the fact that we were distant, and so this was his attempt to try to like rectify that. And I was like, okay, whatever, because I'm getting a tattoo. Yeah, cool. He was supposed to show up that day to get it done with me, but something came up and he never showed. Which again, I was really, really hurt by. Not surprised, but just hurt. And I remember going to the tattoo shop with one idea. I was actually going to get a phoenix instead, which is like, you know, kind of stereotypical, I guess. Although, but it was the same sort of idea of like being able to rise from the ashes. Like no matter what happened to you or where you came from, you can still overcome. And I still like that message. But last minute decision at the tattoo parlor, I was like, no, this is what I want instead. So why did I pick a Squirtle with a Bulbasaur backpack to be some sort of my first tattoo? Because, you know, everyone's like, when you get your first tattoo, you're like, oh, this is supposed to be so deep, this is supposed to be so meaningful, you know, this is like gonna define who I am for the rest of my life. And then like after a couple of them, you're just kind of like, I just want, you know, a avocado on my arm because I like avocados. So like that kind of feeling goes away. But there was a deep meaning behind this tattoo, and I don't really share this with a whole lot of people unless they ask. I think I've told maybe like 4 people in my life like what this tattoo actually means to me. Like other than the fact that I'm a really big Pokemon fan, and Squirtle was like my first starter. And actually, so like I've shown them off in another video, but I have this really old pillow of a Squirtle like that I've had literally since infancy. Like I don't remember buying it. Um that I still have with me today, and I slept with like every single day of my life. So that thing is my best friend, and I'm married now and in our own place, and I still have the Squirtle pillow that's like, you know, in our bedroom. And I won't get rid of it, even though it's probably like disgusting at this point, but you know, it is what it is. So Squirtle, like, so that Pokemon specifically was such a like a key part of my childhood that I you know, if I was going to get a Pokemon tattoo, I'd have to get a Squirtle, right? I picked that as my first starter, but I also like love Squirtle for its personality. It was the kind of person that was like, you know, a natural leader, someone who was really cool, someone with sunglasses, somebody who was like sassy and everything else, and like who I kind of wanted to be as a person. And I'm still sassy, but I wouldn't really call myself cool. Um, you know, I'm just me, right? So take that how you will. I really drew inspiration from the fact that it was trying to disguise itself as a Blastoise, right? That it was trying to disguise itself as an adult version of what it is. Not necessarily pretending, but filling the role of like an adult's shoes. And that really hit home with me because my parents, I love them very much, but we lived in a household that was a little bit unpredictable, and there would be times where I really had to, you know, step up as the oldest sibling and take care of my other siblings, or you know, I was hyper conscious to things going on in my environment that were beyond my comprehension for my age level. um and because of this, you know, I had developed a real sense of maturity really young to make up for certain things going on both sides, really. I know this video I've mentioned like my dad and our hard relationship, but like my relationship with my mom hasn't been picture perfect either. We're in a place now that we get along really, really well, and we can like talk to each other like friends, and that's great. But there was also times early on in my childhood where my mom still tried to talk to me like her friend, and that just wasn't, you know, age appropriate at all. Or, you know, they always fought to the point that it was sometimes would get kind of nasty. And you know, I remember like scurrying my brother and sister away to get them into a different room so they wouldn't have to hear it. Or when I was able to start driving, I would just pick them up and drive them to a park or something so they didn't have to be around that. Um, you know, also like my dad worked nights, so he wasn't really allowed. So he physically wasn't around a lot, not just like in terms of emotions, but he couldn't go to a lot of stuff because he worked really hard at night, right? And that's fine, but my mom worked during the day, so like there would be a period of time where people were supposed to like watch us, but that never really happened. And so, um, you know, in those instances, I was the one making food for my siblings, or like tech being that second parental figure on both ends. So, like if mom wasn't around, I became mom, or if dad wasn't around, I became dad. And it just happened to be where my dad was around a lot less, so therefore I became dad, or at least I can't speak to my siblings or how they viewed it, but I felt like I was always a dad to myself. Um, and apparently this isn't like a unique phenomenon. I think a lot of children go through it, especially children who grew up with parents who like fought a lot, or you know, um, however that went. You know, you could either act out and like present your emotions that way, or you can like internalize it and um just realize that you got to do what you have to do, and there's like nothing else to it. And I think there's like a term for it, but I don't remember. If I find it, I'll put it in there. But I remember venting to an English teacher in high school, because we all do that. Venting to an English teacher in high school about it, and she told me that this was an actual like psychological phenomenon that's pretty common. So um yeah, so I thought about all that. I thought about my childhood, and I thought about like the fact that this tattoo was the first irresponsible decision that I've ever made in my life. You know, I was always the good girl. I was always the one, you know, that did sports, that, you know, got good grades, that did what she was told, that, you know, also worked. Like as soon as I turned 16, I started working, and I haven't not worked ever in my life, you know. Um I did everything right, you know. So this moment of getting a tattoo for me was the first kind of like rebellious expression I had. Um, and I had emotions, but I thought this was fitting because I don't, although I do, I'm still the same person I am, and I appreciate in a way, I appreciate how I grew up because it turned me into the person that I am, or at least like my decisions after the fact made me who I am. And I am an old soul. I am someone who's really responsible, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also wanted to remind myself that it's okay to be fun. It's okay to be childish. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do something just because you want to, right? Not because somebody is expecting you to do it. And for me, this is what this tattoo really symbolizes for me. It's the Squirtle character is me pretending to be an adult at an early age and missing on the childhood. But also because I have a Pokemon tattoo, and that's something an adult at the time would not. Tattoos are like more common now, and people have tattoos about like everything. But at the time, um, this was something that people just did not do. They did not get cartoon characters. That was absolutely ridiculous. So this is a tattoo to remind myself that it's okay to be childish. It's okay, And when I look at it, I mean, sometimes you just kind of forget your tattoos there in general, and you see it, and you're like, "Oh, surprise!" But when I see it, I don't know, it makes me feel complete, and I've never regretted this tattoo a single day in my life. In fact, like I've gone a lot of places, and I've actually like made friends because of this tattoo. Like when I went to college, I was the coolest kid on the block. Um, like everyone saw my leg, and they're like, "Oh, no way! Da, 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 da. That's so cool!" And like there's this, I remember this one girl, and she lived in my dorm building, and she was like, you can tell she was kind of rough around the edges. Like you can tell, you just tell when people have been through some shit. And so she was one of those like really hard girls that's been through some stuff. And she saw me, and she told me I was like a tough ass bitch for that. And I was like, me? Tough? No, okay, whatever. Like, sure, believe what you want, girlfriend. Like that's great. Like if you yeah, no, I've gotten a lot of positive reactions to it. A lot of people like it. I've also gotten some criticisms because people just feel like they can comment on your body whenever, especially when you're a lady with tattoos. So I've gotten some really nasty comments from men in bars and stuff. But I've also gotten some nasty comments from some older ladies who are disapproving of this tattoo, especially when their children come up to me and they see my leg and they're like, "Oh my god, mommy, it's a Pokemon, it's Squirtle. This girl's got Squirtle on her leg. I want Squirtle on my leg." And I have to be like, "Oh yeah, well, it's always a hard space to navigate." I literally had one woman, I was working in retail when I was um, finishing up high school, or I was on a big break from college or something, and she literally like, just felt the need to lecture me on my leg while I was trying to like clean out the fitting room, and I was like, "Ma'am, no, like I I appreciate it, but no, I'm fine. I don't know, but it's been weird." So yeah, that's my Pokemon tattoo story, and I love the squirrel tattoo so much. Um, and it makes me so. I mean, I feel that way about both my tattoos. I also have a tattoo on my chest here that I really like. I think you've been able to see in some videos, but I haven't really shown off yet. That's also another thing, is that I get a lot of inappropriate comments about this, more so than the Squirtle one. I think obviously it has something to do with placement. Um, but it's not meant to be a sexual thing at all. And maybe I'll do another a video talking about that tattoo and like why I got it. But I'm really interested in getting other Pokemon tattoos too. I've been really considering getting something done on my thigh with Appleton, especially since I have Appleton in my Sword and Shield game that I've lovingly named Applecoon. And I really want to get like some sort of kawaii, cutesy, bakery themed tattoo thing on my thigh. I think that'd be super, super cool. But yeah, that's my Pokemon tattoo story. If you like this story, if you like this video, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Liking this video also lets me know. Sharing with a friend would super help the channel out. And please, 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 if you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. A lot of my viewers, and I would say a good 70 to 80% of my viewers, aren't subscribed to my channel. So let's fix that, like if you're here already, you might as well subscribe, am I right? Also, let me know if you like this sort of setup. Normally I sit at my desk and I have it projected where the lighting's like really in my face and it's like you can see my bookshelf in the background. But since this was like more of an interpersonal video, I just wanted to like sit on my couch and kind of talk to you that way. I know the lighting's a little bit different here, but I don't know, this feels a little bit more conversational and interpersonal to me. So I don't know. Let me know if you like the change or not. You know, I like experimenting on this channel, so each video is kind of different, and I feel like I've been growing with every single video. So it would really help me out. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.